Welcome to the 106th National Day of Remembrance. I invite you now, as you are able, to please stand as we honor those who made the supreme sacrifice. We will begin this ceremony by acknowledging that we are meeting on Aboriginal land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples from the beginning. In particular, we acknowledge that we are on Robinson-Huron Treaty, and the land in which we are gathered is the traditional home of the Anishinaabe people. It is our collective commitment to make the promise and the challenge of truth and reconciliation real in our communities. Color Party Commander, march on the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, I would invite you to join with me as we honor our nation with our national anthem, O Canada, sung by Ella Dubray.
Ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée, tes plus brillants exploits. God keep our land, glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
The last post will now be sounded by the Royal Canadian Legionnaire trumpeter Dave Sweet, followed by 2 minutes of silence. They shall not grow old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them. Deposit the colors. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. At this time, it is my pleasure to welcome now to the podium Comrade Pierre Breckenridge, President of Branch 25 of the Royal Canadian Legion.
Veterans, serving members, Mr. Mayor, honored guests, comrades. First and foremost, on behalf of our 880+ members, I would like to thank all serving members, veterans, along with their families for their service and sacrifice. Honored guests, by attending the service, you make real the promise to never forget and to honor their service. This year, our focus is on two main themes. First, of course, is the Royal Canadian Air Force RCIF 100th anniversary. Looking back from the formation on April 1st, 1921, moving through the years to their participation in World War II, April 1st, 1940, the formation of their search and rescue operations, along with their support in the Gulf War and Afghanistan. Not to mention the support at home during natural disasters like floods and wildfires. They have made many Canadians proud of their participation and support to the space program, along with our astronauts. Every member of every trade has every right to be proud of the part they played in the success of the RCIF. Lieutenant General Kenny, the commander of the RCIF, quoted as saying, "The RCIF is doing a good deeds around the world every day in overseas operations and contributing to global security and stabilization." Well done. Second, we are paying tribute to the 75th anniversary of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and the many Canadians who served. Canada was the founding member of NATO, and during the Cold War, Canada stationed troops at military bases across Europe, primarily France and West Germany. Currently, Canadians contribute to NATO is the assurance and deterrent measures in Central and Eastern Europe. They are part of Operation Reassurance with over 1,500 Canadian Armed Forces members currently deployed, and it is Canada's largest international military operation. Branch 25 recognizes the tremendous service that the men and women of the CAF have contributed to world peace and stability. We are proudly flying the NATO flag at our branch. This flag was donated by one of our members, Marina Verdonk, who received one of the special NATO anniversary flags earlier this year. I would also like to thank the community for your unconditional support for our veterans and serving members. Time and time again, we have reached out for support during Legion activities and veterans dinners, and they came through in spades. To my Poppy and Remembrance committees, their work is invaluable, and I commend our Poppy taggers, our volunteers, Poppy Room members, and the community for your ongoing support. To our friends at the Sault Ste. Marie Museum, thanks is not enough. We owe you a debt for your unwavering support to our move to and from our old building, displaying our service personnel and their families' service very honorably during that period. You shared your space and resources with both moves. You provided expert advice and skilled service to restore our main cenotaph. I want you to know that you have earned a place in our hearts. In particular, with our shared values of honoring our veterans and telling their stories. Recently, we had our grand opening, which was attended by many of our business partners and community leaders, as well as volunteers. We have started a new chapter in the Legion history in this third Legion building. Our hope is that we're able to provide additional services while maintaining our traditional support to veterans. We are truly grateful for the community support, and I want to thank the Marconi Multicultural Event Center for their hospitality during our construction phase and move back to the new building. On behalf of the Legion and myself personally, I want to thank the Mayor and the staff for their ongoing support of these terrific and complicated Remembrance Day services. They did everything possible to move the work forward on Queen Street and to allow us to have our traditional wreath-laying ceremony at the cenotaph. Thank you. I will end with this. Please take the time, not only today, but through the year, to learn more about the men and women who serve by speaking to them and their family members as we all learn and we find out more information about their service that pays tribute to that service and remembers their sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Pierre. Let us begin our time of remembrance with prayer. Let us pray. God of eternity, Lord of all the ages, we thank you that in times past, when darkness and evil enveloped the human family, ordinary men and women from all parts of society, all corners of our country, in many nations, responded to resist aggression and to defend freedom. Especially we thank you for all those who gave their lives in the service of their country, for all who suffered in battle, for those taken prisoner, for those wounded in body, mind, or spirit. We thank you for the contribution to this struggle that was made by the men and women who stayed at home, working in factories, offices, on the land. Lord God of all, who defended and continued to defend freedom, we thank you. Deliver us, we pray, from the prison of hatred against enemy. Set us free from the powers of revenge. Liberate us from the bitterness of anger. Help us to use the freedom won at such great price On this day of remembrance, we gather to reflect and to pray, to remember the past and look to the future. On this day when the guns once fell silent, we come before you seeking your peace. On this day of hope in the face of terror, we come before you, praying with all our hearts. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come. Open our eyes and the eyes of all the nations to find a different path through disagreements in life in this world. In this time of remembrance, may we recommit to being a people of peace, true peace. And may we catch a vision of how our world could live together, and so echo the prayers of old, make us channels of your peace. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with us. Amen. Friends, as you are able, I would invite you now to stand and join with us in singing the hymn that is printed in your service brochure, Faith of Our Fathers. Be seated. It is my pleasure now to call upon His Worship Mayor Matthew Shoemaker.
Good morning. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you, and I'd like to thank everyone who has taken the time or made the time to join us in today's ceremony. I'd also like to acknowledge the other dignitaries who are present with us, Mr. Romano, Mr. Sheehan, Shirley Horn, and all the members past and present who have served. To the veterans who are here today, thank you for your service on behalf of our country. Today is about remembrance, honoring the courage, resilience, sacrifice of all those from our community, our region, and our country who served Canada in times of peace and war. This year marks two significant anniversaries, one of which you heard about earlier, another of which is 80 years since D-Day and the 75th anniversary of the founding of NATO. These milestones reflect Canada's vital contribution to global peace and security and our deep commitment to defending freedom. On June 6, 1944, over 14,000 Canadians joined Allied forces on D-Day, storming the beaches of Normandy. Canada's soldiers were instrumental in the success of this operation, facing harrowing resistance, but pushing forward to begin the liberation of Europe from oppression. Their bravery and determination not only altered the course of the Second World War, but became a symbol of Canada's resolve to fight for justice and freedom. The establishment of NATO in 1949 marked another key moment in the pursuit of peace. As one of NATO's founding nations, Canada pledged to defend democratic freedoms and protect member states from global threats. For 75 years, NATO has helped maintain peace, with Canada actively contributing to its missions. Our involvement in NATO demonstrates our enduring commitment to collective security and our dedication to a world where peace prevails. Together, these anniversaries remind us that Canada's legacy is one of always standing for peace, even when doing so requires sacrifice and courage. We remember the sacrifices of the past and honor them by upholding the vision of those who fought for it. They believe their actions would make a lasting difference, and it is now up to us to realize their vision of peace. All of you who are here, remembering and carrying on acts of remembrance, are carrying on the vision of peace and honoring those who fought for that vision through your acts of remembrance. We not only honor those who fought and served, but we commit ourselves to the cause that they served for, to strive for peace they dreamed of. For those who made the ultimate sacrifice, we remember not only their lives, but also their families and friends who grieved their loss. As a community, as a country, we remember, we mourn, and we pledge to keep their memories alive. To all of our veterans, past and present, thank you on behalf of all residents of Sault Ste. Marie. We extend our deepest gratitude to you. Thank you for your dedication, your commitment, and your sacrifice.
Thank you, Your Worship. At this time, I would call again upon Comrade Pierre Breckenridge, President of Branch 25 of the Royal Canadian Legion, to introduce to you our guest speaker for today.
It's my pleasure today to introduce our guest speaker, Captain Catherine Devon. Captain Devon was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie. In 1982, she joined the Canadian Armed Forces and enrolled in the Air Force. She completed basic training at CFB Cornwallis, Halifax, and received the Commandant's Shield recognition as one of the top recruits. She continued her training as a mobile support equipment operator at CFB Borden during her time in the regular force. Captain Devon was stationed at CFB Penhole and Cold Lake, Alberta. She was employed in a number of joint Air Force exercises, her favorite being aircraft refueling and being part of the honor guards for numerous ceremonies, occasions, and dignitaries. In 1988, she worked in Toronto Summit Economic Declaration, supporting heads of state and countries in various roles. In 1989, Captain Devon accepted a position in Namibia, Africa, as part of the UN peacekeeping mission. Operation Matador, as part of the Canadian contingent in the United Nations Transition Group, she ensured the early independence of Namibia through free and fair elections under the supervision and control of the United Nations. Canadian peacekeepers provided logistical and transportation support to the larger UN force. The military force's role was to monitor the ceasefire and withdrawal of South Africa forces and to maintain some degree of surveillance at Namibia's borders. Captain Devon's duties took her across the country, transporting supplies and personnel to a wide network of units and locations. She spent her free time volunteering with local organizations while there distributing food, clothing, in rural villages. This opportunity and experiences were valuable and life-changing to her. Upon return to Canada and after her release from the CAF, she attended Algoma University, pursuing a degree in psychology and also a diploma in healthcare. She worked in the social services for 28 years and continues to work in the healthcare profession. In 2017, Captain Devon volunteered with the Borden Gray Air Cadet Squadron and was part of the sponsoring support group. In 2019, she re-enrolled in the CAF as an instructor in the cadet instructor cadre. She served as the training officer and drill instructor for several years. Captain Devon is currently the commanding officer of the 155 Borden Gray GC Squadron Royal Canadian Air Cadets. Captain Devon is a proud member of 432 Wing, Air Force Association, Branch 25 Legion member, and a member of the 49th Field Regiment Pipe and Drum Band. In her spare time, Captain Devon is an avid athlete, spending time playing and coaching sports such as volleyball and basketball, hockey. It is my pleasure to introduce Captain Devon, my friend and comrade.
Good morning. Veterans, current serving members, dignitaries, community members, and guests. It is with great privilege, honor, and humility that I stand here with you on this Remembrance Day, and also recognize the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force. Both of these events serve as powerful reminders of our nation's unwavering commitment to service, duty, and sacrifice at home and around the world. As a veteran of the Royal Canadian Air Force and a now serving CIC Cadet Instructor Cadre Officer, I experienced a deep, honorable connection to the legacy of the service members of the Canadian Armed Forces that have worn the uniform before and along with me. Today, we remember their sacrifices and reflect on the great and heavy responsibility we have as we must uphold the values for which they fought and in many cases for which they have died. We remember not just the fallen, but those veterans among us here today. Those who served during times of war, those who continue to serve in peacetime. They embody the values of service, loyalty, and sacrifice that define the spirit of the Canadian Armed Forces. During a time of global conflict, 100 years ago, the Royal Canadian Air Force was born. In the aftermath of the First World War, military aviation had proven its worth. What began as a small experimental force, the RCAF, became an integral branch of Canada's defense, becoming also one of the world's most respected air forces. Over the last century, RCAF personnel have served with courage, skill, and distinction in conflicts around the world, defending freedom during World War II, patrolling the skies during the Cold War, partaking in peacekeeping missions, combat missions, humanitarian missions, and disaster relief. Whether providing no-fly zones, providing critical air support to ground troops, or flying humanitarian aid into disaster-stricken regions, the RCAF has demonstrated its versatility and dedication to the protection of human life. But today is not just about celebrating history. It's about remembering those who made that history happen. Mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, who put duty and freedoms before self, knowing the risks, yet serving with honor. Ordinary people like you here, doing extraordinary things. Each member's name engraved on our memorials, in our hearts, in our minds, represents a story of courage and sacrifice. We owe it to them to keep their memories alive, to tell their stories. As a CIC officer, I am reminded of the importance of guiding and inspiring the next generation of Canadians. Our youth, your young people, members of our communities, our neighborhoods, our schools, our churches, and organizations, many of whom aspire to military careers and will be the future of our armed forces. They are confident, strong, capable future leaders that will shape the communities and the world we live in. They are filled with a sense of duty, as we once were, and it is our responsibility to ensure that they understand the cost and efforts of the freedom we enjoy today. In our young people, we see a continuation of the legacy fought for a century ago by the RCAF and all our services, one that has been defended and advanced through the decades. We honor the fallen, but we also must honor the living by ensuring that those who return home from service are recognized, cared for, and provided the tools necessary to integrate back home into civilian life. Remembrance Day also asks us to think about the challenges our service members face beyond the battlefield: mental health, PTSD, struggles of reintegrating into life after service, recognizing that the wounds that are not visible are just as real and just as deserving of our supports. On this day, November 11, Remembrance Day, as we remember the brave who made the ultimate sacrifice, let us also renew our commitment to efforts of peace and security. The world remains uncertain, and the challenges we face continue to evolve. The RCAF, as it moves forward into its second century of service, will be called upon to face and confront new threats, adapt to new technologies, and protect our way of life. I have no doubt it will rise to the challenge as it has done over the past 100 years. In closing, I ask you all to take a moment today to reflect on the sacrifices made by generations of service members, to honor the courage of those who serve, and to truly cherish the freedoms and peace that they have fought to protect. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Devon. He was the son of a brigadier general. Both the general and son enlisted to serve on the same day in 1914. And by April of the next year, the son was on the front, an officer in an artillery battery on the French-Belgian border. A high explosive shell burst overhead instantly killing 22-year-old Lieutenant Alexis Helmer. And with no chaplain present, Lieutenant Colonel Dr. John McCrae, second in command of the brigade, a personal friend of both father and son, officiated at the burial. In response to that death and all of the deaths that had occurred in the previous year of fighting, McCrae wrote words which have captured the soul of sacrifice. I now invite to the podium Warrant Officer Second Class Rowan Christensen of the 155 Borden Gray GC Air Cadet Corps, who will recite the epic poem written by McCrae in Flanders Fields.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours, to hold it high. If ye break faith with us, who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies blow in Flanders fields.
It is my pleasure to welcome today to narrator Angeline Pine, who will introduce the Big River Singers Drum Group representing the Sault Ste. Marie Indigenous Friendship Center.
Thank you. Anin Bojo Kanawea. Hello, everyone. First, we would like to pay respects to our elders present, the drum, the singers, and also pay respects to the Eagle Feather staff, our sacred items. Today, we gather to pay tribute to the Indigenous veterans who have served our country with honor and distinction. We remember their bravery, their sacrifices, and their contributions to our nation's freedom. Indigenous people have a long history of military service in Canada. From the War of 1812 to Afghanistan and beyond, Indigenous people have served in times of war and peace for more than 200 years. They have also served in many peacekeeping missions around the world. Despite facing discrimination and racism, Indigenous veterans have always answered the call of duty. They have fought for our country's values of freedom, democracy, and human rights. They have shown us what it means to be true patriots with strength and resiliency. Today, we honor their legacy by remembering their service and sacrifice. We also recognize the ongoing contributions of Indigenous people in the Canadian Armed Forces. Finally, we pay tribute to more than 3,000 Indigenous members currently serving in the Canadian Armed Forces, here in Canada and in operations around the world. They continue to uphold the proud legacy of service left behind by generations past. On behalf of the Indigenous Friendship Center in Sault Ste. Marie and the urban Indigenous community, Chimigwech, thank you to all Indigenous veterans, past, present, and in our future, for your service to our country. We will never forget your bravery, your sacrifice, and your love.
Good day, everybody. My name is Kathy Surrett. I am the Executive Director at the Indigenous Friendship Center here in Sault Ste. Marie, and I'm very proud to be a part of our program. This is our second year communicating and also being engaged in the program. As we know, as Angeline had just said, that Indigenous people did pay a lot of homage to our wars, the First and Second World Wars in Canada and in the United States. At this time, I'm going to introduce, I'm going to introduce our singers, if they would like to come up and bring the drum. First, we have Brock Lewis, Garden River First Nation. Jason Wemagwan, Swikwemacong First Nation. Ms. Chigigabe Thomas, Kansas City, Potawatomi. Kansas Prairie, Potawatomi. And Carson Kayashk, Walpole Island First Nation. We have Daynell Paiwasit, Our Lady Singers. And we have Wase Paiwasit. The first song that they're going to sing will be a grand entry song, and we will have our Eagle Staff carrier bring up the Eagle Staff, and this is our flag. This is our flag. It's made of beautiful eagle feathers, as the eagle is the one who flies the highest. Nicholas Van Alstine is a member of the Sioux Tribe of Chippewa Indigenous Community, married for 29 years with 2 children and just became a grandfather of twin boys. Nicholas is a Navy veteran, spent 4 years in the USMC with overseas services in Australia, China, Malaysia, and Okinawa, Japan. He was radio operator and served with 3rd Amphibious Assault Battalion and 1st Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion. He attained the rank of Corporal E4. When he left, he attended Lake State University, obtaining his bachelor's degree in social sciences with minors in history and education. He taught a few years before working for his tribe for 15 years and now works for the federal government. He has obtained the role of head veteran for many community events, including ours here at our Remembrance Day Ceremony. At this time, the singers will sing a grand entry song to bring in our dancers. These dancers, and the singers included, all have a grandfather or a great-grandfather, a descendant, an ancestor who served in many world wars. So at this time, we'll get the Big River Singers to sing the grand entry song. Thank you. Miigwech. We're just going to take just a minute for our next song, which is going to be a flag song. And as I had mentioned a little bit earlier, our Navy veteran, Nicholas Van Alstyne, is carrying our flag. This is the Eagle Staff, and this next song is going to be the flag song in which we honor our Eagle staffs far and wide from throughout Canada, throughout the United States, because at one time there was no border. And I know in my family, we've had an uncle Sergeant George Menisno Pine, who served in the Second World War in Europe. And there were many of our Canadian veterans who had served in the United States as well. So singers, if you're ready, we can do the flag song, and Nicholas will be posting our Eagle Staff. And the dancers are dancing for our veterans that have gone on to the spirit world, the veterans that are still here, and the veterans that will be coming up in the future. On behalf of the Indigenous communities, the surrounding First Nations, the urban Indigenous community, I would like to say thank you to Pierre and Suzanne at the Canadian Legion here in Sault Ste. Marie. It's been a pleasure working with them to bring our performers out and be a part of the Remembrance Day ceremonies here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as you leave the gardens a little later on today, you may want to go out through the main entrance by the box office. There on the walls are the plaques remembering those who paid the supreme sacrifice in World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and in Afghanistan. And on the World War I plaque, the first name you will see is William Aaron, a member of Six Nations Reserve who was lost during the First World War. The placing of wreaths in memory of those whose comrades who have fallen will be conducted today by Comrade Pascal Kripeau-Breckenridge. Please note that there will be two pipers who will be playing in the background during the wreath laying, and they are from the pipes and drums of the 49th Sault Ste. Marie Field Artillery Regiment, RCA.
Let us take time to remember. Today we pay tribute to the sacrifice of Sergeant John Wayne Fott and Master Corporal Scott Vernelli, represented by Silver Cross Mother Donna Crossan. Sergeant Fott served with distinction for 17 years with the 2nd Battalion Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry and volunteered for 7 tours, including his final 3 in Afghanistan, where he tragically lost his life on January 16, 2010, while on patrol. We express our gratitude to Mrs. Crossan for her presence and for representing the courage and sacrifice of all Canadian mothers who have lost their children in military service. At this time, we would like to acknowledge the service of more than 10,000 citizens of the District of Algoma who served Canada in the conflicts since Confederation. Silver Cross Mother Donna Crossan is escorted today by Sergeant Turner and Sergeant McIntyre. Representing the Government of Canada, Terry Sheehan, MP. Representing the Indigenous Peoples of Canada and the Indian Friendship Center, Shirley Horn and Angeline Pine. Representing the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25, Comrade President Pierre Breckenridge and Sergeant at Arms Richard Palaya. Representing the Government of Ontario, Ross Romano, MPP. Representing the City of Sault Ste. Marie, His Worship Mayor Matthew Shoemaker. Representing the Canadian Armed Forces, Honorary Colonel Donna Hilsinger. Representing the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Detachment, Michael Fenchak. Representing the Ontario Provincial Police Sault Ste. Marie Detachment, Retired Inspector Kathy Bell and Retired Staff Sergeant Brian Bell. Representing the Sault Ste. Marie Police Service and service members, Chief Hugh Stevenson and Sergeant Major Ray Magnan. Representing the Sault Ste. Marie Fire Services, Fire Chief Peter Johnson. Representing Afghan veterans, Mike McWaters. Currently, we ask that you pick up your wreath if you have not already done so. The Legion Hapkido and Scouts Canada groups will be happy to help you. Laying wreaths on behalf of the military, Legion, and public safety, 49th Field Regiment, Royal Canadian Artillery, presented by Lieutenant Colonel Brian Nadon and Chief Warrant Officer Freedom. Sault Ste. Marie Officers Mess, Sault Ste. Marie Warrant Officers and Sergeants Mess, Sault Ste. Marie Junior Ranks Club, the Royal Canadian Legion Color Party, Royal Canadian Legion Drum and Trumpet Band, Sault Ste. Marie 49th Pipe and Drum Band, Ladies Auxiliary, Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25, President Carol Lacoste. Air Force Association of Canada 432 Algoma Wing, Alan Fell and Michael Lewis. Canada Border Services Agency Officers Trotter and Matt Teasy. Algoma Veterans Association, presented by Veino Humalamaki. OPP Veterans Association, retired Detective Fairburn and retired civilian Maureen Angus. Laying wreaths in memory of or honor of, in memory of Maureen Jackson, Poppy Committee volunteer, 30 years, and Bernie Jackson, World War II veteran, King's Own Yorkshire, Light Infantry, presented by the family. In memory of Lieutenant W.T.J. Newman, founder of the Sea Cadet movement in Sault Ste. Marie, and the 25 ex-Sea Cadets killed in action during World War II and Korea. The wreath of remembrance will be presented by the Simon and St. Jewel families. In memory of Russ Radford, Royal Canadian Navy, World War II, presented by his family. In memory of Sergeant Thomas Arthur Snell, 21st Battalion, World War II, presented by his family. In memory of Sergeant John Wayne Fott, Warrant Officer Victor Crossan, Private Ren Moody, and Master Corporal Scott Vernelli, presented by family. In memory of Private Léon Roy from the Donaldson great-grandchildren. In memory of Private Léon Roy, presented by David Roy and Donaldson family. In memory of Léo Talfer, presented by family. In memory of all serving members of the Lauzon family, presented by the Lauzon family. In memory of Frank Milosevic, Royal Canadian Navy, World War II, presented by Vicki Burns. In memory of Jack Harker Corey, World War II, remembered by family. In memory of John Corey, veteran World War I and World War II, remembered by family. In memory for all our family that fought in the Second World War, and for Kenny Edwards, who is a full-time soldier in Edmonton with the 1st Service Battalion, presented by Mrs. Jerry Pierce. In memory of parents Richard Shafik Applejohn, World War I, Royal Army Machine Gun Corps, and Lucy Cook Applejohn, Royal Air Force, presented by Mike Applejohn. In memory of father and mother-in-law Lloyd Dupe, World War II, and Sadie Jones Dupe, Royal Air Force, World War II, presented by Mike Applejohn. In memory of Jim Lanthier, lifetime member of the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25, and World War II vet, laid by his family. In memory of Ted Hoare and son Raymond Hoare, presented by Laurel Hendrick. In memory of Lori and Leroy Mackenzie, presented by family. Laying wreaths on behalf of the municipality, the Corporation of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, the Corporation of Prince Township, presenting His Worship Mayor Enzo Palumbo. Parks Canada Sault Ste. Marie Canal Historic District, and Parks Canada Fort St. Joseph National Historic Site, Algoma Family Services, Sioux Community Career Center, United Way, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma Region, Ontario Lottery and Gaming, presented by Blake Golder, Group Health Center, Children's Aid Society of Algoma, Jardin Vanskoy. Laying wreaths on behalf of the cadet and youth organizations, 46 Royal Sovereign Sea Cadet Corps, number 30 Newman Navy League Corps, 2310 Royal Canadian Army Cadets, 155 Borden Gray Air Cadet Squadron, and Scouts Canada. Laying wreaths on behalf of churches and groups, Willow Grove United Church, Joe Swiston, St. Luke Cathedral, Holy Trinity Anglican Church, Westminster Presbyterian Church Ladies' Aid, Central United Church, Emmaus Anglican Church, presented by Dawn Vardy and Holly Clemenson, Bethel Bible Chapel, Paroisse Sainte-Marie du Sceau, Free Methodist Church of Sault Ste. Marie, and Salvation Army. Laying wreaths on behalf of the various local companies. Construction Equipment Company Limited, Dan Valiquette. Algoma Steel purchased 2 wreaths to lay today. Metro Churchill Plaza, Northwood Funeral Home Cremation and Reception Center, O'Sullivan Funeral Home, Lock City Monuments, Gateway Casinos and Entertainment Limited, presented by Linda and Grace Asiganak, Timberland General Store, in memory of those who faithfully served, Arthur Funeral Home, Barton and Kitley Chapel, Henderson Metal Fabricating Company Limited. Laying wreaths on behalf of groups and associations. Knights of Columbus Council 932. Hatherley Lodge number 625. Club Calabrese of Sault Ste. Marie, Luigi Guzzo. And going back to the Hatherley Lodge, Ian McKenzie is laying the wreath. Algonquin Chapter number 102, Royal Archmasons, Elks Lodge number 341, Keystone Lodge AF and AM number 412, Algoma Lodge number 469, Gibson Preceptory number 39, Fraternal Order of Eagles, Hayden and Gooley Airy number 4061, Sault Ste. Marie Lodge of Perfection, Scottish Rite Masonry, Zonta Club of Sault Ste. Marie, Royal Purple Lodge number 155, Elsie Conley, Kiwanis Club of Sault Ste. Marie, Kiwanis Club of Lakeshore, the Lions Club of Sault Ste. Marie, presented by Debbie Kidd and Trevor Fisher, Retired Women Teachers of Ontario Sault Ste. Marie Branch, Retired Teachers of Ontario District 3 Algoma, ERO, Mary and Folgo della Vedova, Fogular Furlong Club, Elettra Marconi Society, Beta Sigma Phi City Council, the Catholic Women's League of Sault Ste. Marie, Regional Council Canada, Historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council, Ontario Finnish Rest Home, F.J. Davy Home Auxiliary, Algoma Autism Foundation, Sioux Area Hospital Foundation, Resident Council Vandale Manor, Marconi Benefit Society. Laying wreaths on behalf of locals and unions. United Association Union Local 800, Iron Workers Local 786, United Steelworkers Local 2724, USWA SOAR Chapter 17, Mr. Pritchard. United Steelworkers 2251, Kevin Legacy. Unifor Local 1359, Customs and Immigration Union, Syndicat des Douanes et de l'Immigration Local 26, Filiale 26, laid by officers Kate Trotter and Sam Felice. Algoma District Elementary Teachers, QP Local 1528, OPSU Local 620, OSSTF District 2 Algoma, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local Union 1687, laying wreaths on behalf of the post-secondary institutions, schools, and school boards. Algoma University, laid by Megan Jones-McLeod. Algoma District School Board purchased 2 wreaths to be laid today. Cora Collegiate and Vocational School. Cora Collegiate and Vocational School, grades 7 and 8. Parkland Public School and École Éco des Rapides. Any others who wish to place a wreath, please come forward. The wreaths that have not been picked up will be laid now by the Legion Hapkido Group and Scouts Canada. We would like to thank and recognize the generous donations from the following businesses, organizations, and individuals. Kevin Lamore of our financial plans. The GFL, Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25 Ladies Auxiliary, the Esquire Club, the Soup Kitchen, Century 21 Choice Realty, PUC Services Incorporated for putting up the banners, Retired Women's Teachers of Ontario Sault Ste. Marie Branch, Sioux Greyhounds Hockey Club, RF Contracting Incorporated, Princess Auto, Bricklayers Local 29, and Gino's Fired Up Kitchen. So we're having the wreaths that haven't been picked up, placed by Scouts Canada Group and the Legion Hapkido.
We will remember them. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy now a musical presentation, firstly by the pipes and drums of the 49th Sault Ste. Marie Field Artillery Regiment, RCA, and then by the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25 Drum and Trumpet Band. Thank you. We will now have the presentation of this year's Ed Dinsdale Award by Comrade Pierre Breckenridge.
The Ed Dinsdale Poppy Award is presented annually to an individual, generally, and marks a long-term commitment to the Poppy campaign and service to veterans. This year, we are pleased to announce and wish to recognize a group that has been supporting veterans and the Poppy campaign, along with our community, for over 97 years. From their inception, with their chartered members, Roberta Judd and Edith Bennett, to currently the past presidents such as Marg Swenson and Rose Colasaco, and the current president, Carol Lacasse, and from the Food Service Coordination, Jean Snell, and missing, of course, is Maureen. She's busy at the branch preparing food. It's our pleasure to introduce this year's Ed Dinsdale recipients. The Ladies Auxiliary of Branch 25, Royal Canadian Legion. Ladies, this is long overdue. Thank you very much for everything that you do for the veterans. Carol, congratulations. Thank you very much.
I would now invite Comrade Padre Helen Smith to offer the benediction.
Today we have gathered remembering the sacrifice and the service of so many. But remembering is more than just one day, 1 week in November. The action of remembering is working for peace. So now, let us go forth from this place with renewed inspiration to remember and to do the work of peace. Seek good, not evil. Love goodness, establish justice. This is the greatest offering we can make, that we let justice roll down like waters and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Go in peace with love for our neighbor, surrounded by the love of your God, this day and always. Amen.
We have in attendance with us today some very special people, ladies and gentlemen. A great many veterans from all three services, both regular force and reserve. I ask all who have worn the uniform and were ready to serve our country now to please stand and be recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, your veterans, your heroes. Color Party Commander, recover the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are able, I would invite you to stand for the Royal Anthem, God Save the King, played by the Canadian Legion Drum and Trumpet Band. And would you please remain standing following the anthem? Reminder that the Memorial Tower is open for visitors today. Please take this opportunity to visit this remarkable memorial in our community. And you are invited to attend the Sault Ste. Marie Museum to see the Honoring the Veterans banners that were unable to be erected on Queen Street during the construction during the museum's regular business hours. And I want to close today's service of remembrance by speaking to veterans, current serving personnel, and their families alike. This time of remembrance can be very difficult for you by the increased attention that is given the interest that is generated by the national focus during Remembrance Week. There are people who can help you through whatever it is that you are going through at the present time. You are not alone. We want you to know that the Legion and our service office is here to help you. You can reach out in person, by email, on the phone. If someone you love or you yourself are struggling, put them in touch with us. We have access to resources and service to support you. If you are in crisis and you think you may harm yourself or others, call 911 immediately. If you are in crisis and need help, you can contact Veterans Affairs Services 24/7 at 1-800-268-7708. It's printed in your bulletin. It's on the screen now. It's a confidential and free service to you as a veteran or serving member or members of your family. We are in this together. We are a team. Let us help. All units, prepare to move out. Color Party Commander, prepare to march off the colors.